everyone, if you haven't watched the pattern drafting tutorial, the link will be in my description. So I am done cutting my fabric. I use my pattern paper to cut it out. Okay, and you're going to be cutting lining. But for the front, because it has a lapel and the inner lapel, the inner fabric will be coming out. That is what is going to be facing outside. So you're not going to be using your lining for this. You're going to use your fabric, and that is why I am dividing my paper into two, like what I'm doing in the video. I am dividing it because one part is going to be for my lining and one part is going to be for my fabric, and the part that is for my fabric is where I have my lapel. Do you understand? If you're using your Duchess for the lapel, you're going to be cutting the Duchess on that paper. Do you understand? Okay, but the rest of the paper, the rest of the fabric or the rest of the dress, you're going to be using your lining. You can see this is my lining, my supposed lining, but the lapel part is my fashion fabric. I hope you understand. So I'm going to be using stay. You can use whatever interfacing you have. I'm using a very thick stay because I want the lapel to have structure. I want it to be very well structured and looking all nice. That is one secret to having a very good lapel. You have to use a good stay. If you have a soft stay, you can double, but if you do not, you can also use a hard stay. Whatever you have, just make it look very thick. You can feel the weight of the lapel of the stay on my dress. Okay, so I'm going to be marking out my measurements on my fabric. You can use the allowance if you're sure, but one thing I've noticed, even though you have an allowance, once you add your dart and other sewings, it may reduce or it will still be the same. So I always recheck before I sew. So I'm going to be joining my collar. I'm doing this process for my fashion fabric and my lining. So on the neckline, the extended neckline, the shawl part, I'm going to be joining with 1/2 inch. Okay, I'm going to be joining my lapel will have inch right side facing the right side, and I'm going to iron flat. Please iron flat. Okay, so after that, I am going to be notching the neckline of my back to find the midpoint, and that notch part, the midpoint, I'm going to be connecting with my front neckline. That is a shawl. Okay, I'm just going to connect. You can see the shoulder and the neckline. The neckline ends where that point is. When you're cutting, you're going to see yours too. That point is for the neckline, and the rest is my shoulder. Okay, I am going to be sewing this. You know how you make your v-neck, how you make it smooth, and how it comes out looking nice if you make it right. That is what you're going to be doing here. So you're just going to watch what I'm doing, and you're going to understand. This is my shoulder, and the other part is my neckline. You're not sewing it straight. You're not sewing it straight down. You are sewing it straight actually, but there's going to be some process so that it doesn't look rough. Just watch what I'm doing. I am going to be connecting my neckline first in a straight line. I'm going to be connecting first, and while I'm saying, I'm going to be making sure there's nothing under. It's all smooth and clean. Then before I connect my shoulder line, I am going to be, you can see how I am arranging it, because that place is like a junction. Yeah, so you cannot just sew straight. You have to be very careful so you don't sew on top or just mess the whole thing up. So I'm going to be raising my presser foot while my needle is already in the dress, and notch. This notching is for easy passage, okay, so I can sew my dress easily. The neckline and the shoulder, it looks straight, but when you're sewing, you're going to notice that there's like a curve or something. So you just have to be very careful right doing this. You make sure you're arranging the down, you're notching, and your presser foot is up. Then when you've noticed that everything is perfectly fine, then you sew straight down. Then you turn it inside, notch and cut out the excess, because you need that place flat and nice. So you're going to notch and cut out the excess. Okay, and take it to your table and iron. And that is how you get your shawl and your shoulder together, all looking nice. So after doing that, I've attached my sleeve for the lining and sleeve for my fabric, same pattern, and I'm just going to close all through, like everything completely. Make sure the shoulder, the neckline, the middle parts is facing each other on a straight line. It should be even, it should be on the same line so it looks neat. I'm going to pin all around and close the entire suit. I didn't say this earlier, but your lining is going to be 1 inch shorter. And make sure all the lines, all your seam lines, the side line, your dart line, all the lines on your fabric and your lining should be together. It should be on the same line. Do you understand? If it's not the same, you have to find out where the issue is coming from and make your corrections. Okay, it needs to be on the same line so your dress will come out looking very nice and clean and fitted. It's not going to move into one side or moving to the other side. Okay, that's why I'm pinning. I have to pin first so that I will know if there's any issue, if the lines are the same, if they're on the same pattern. Okay, I have pinned my dress all around and I'm cutting out the excess I have. You may not have excess, you may have excess, just very tiny, very little excess. If the excess is more than 1 inch, if it's more than ½ inch sometimes, then you have to recheck. Before you trim out anything, please check your dress before you trim out so you don't make mistakes. Some mistakes can cost you the whole dress you get, so you just have to check and be careful. And I've sewn round. I told you I'm going to close, and that is the 1 inch extra I had. Sorry, the 1 inch I cut out from my lining. So I have closed everywhere. I'm going to find the center of my lining, not the fashion fabric. My lining, I'm going to find the center of the back and just cut just a very little line, a very little opening. It doesn't need to be too wide, so you can easily use invisible stitch and it will look rough, or you can use your hemming gum. Okay, this is where I'm going to be turning my clothes, my dress from, where I'm going to be turning in from. You know, everywhere is already sealed. So after this, you have to give this dress the ironing of its life. Like, you have to iron. And this is my dress, my blazer dress, looking all cute and nice already. I've attached my shoulder pad, and I haven't turned my sleeve yet. I'm going to be showing you how to turn the sleeve, but this is how the dress is looking. You can see the watermark because I really ironed the dress. You can see the lapel looking all nice because of the stay I used. So you need to use a good stay and also good ironing. Okay, for my sleeve, I'm going to be bringing it out from the opening I made, and before I join it, I have to check very well, because if you don't check, the sleeve may be twisted, and when you're done sewing, you cannot put your hands through because it's twisted and it's blocked. So you're going to make sure it's free and there's no twisting anywhere, and you're going to be placing it this way. Just watch the video. You're going to understand better watching it than me talking.